Welcome back. I am your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
Here with Deborah Schreiner, Jim Leahy, your trusted trio. You like that?
You know what? I do like that because we have a new thing coming up.
Oh.
The Trust Radio Network.
The Trust Radio Network.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Trust Radio Network. Not only are we going to be getting a group of people together to provide excellent entertainment, but we're going to have a group of trusted, true, tried professionals that will be able to help you in some of the most toughest decisions
exactly true.
Really in your life.
The most important decisions that you have to make.
Well, those are toughest, too.
Yeah.
For example, we'll have true, trusted home loan professionals. We'll make sure that we have the right kind of legal advice coming on the show as well.
You get hurt in an accident, who do you call? You know,
I know who we call.
You can go through the phone book. Oh, I guess we don't go through phone books anymore. You can Google on Google, but you're not going to find the right guy there.
That's right. We'll bring on different contracts. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great opportunity for you, and we'll be every Saturday at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, am I correct?
And every Friday afternoon on our live podcast. So remember that, too, because it's a podcast show.
We record Friday. The show airs Sunday. And what we do on Fridays is we also have a live stream. So go on YouTube, look up Attorney Stephen Leahy, and you'll be able to see our live stream. So if you have a question and you haven't called Open Tax Resolution 312-664-6649, go on to YouTube, type in a question in the comment section, and we will answer it for you. Listen, there's a way to get your question answered. Without further ado, though, we got to go right in the blog segment.
That's right.
It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog.
Okay.
No.
Uh-oh.
I like it. Let it play.
Oh, okay. I did watch Perry Mason last night. I just hear the music, but it is so great to see the old show, And of course, at the end of in that show, at the end, the woman who really killed him, the guy, stood up and tried to run out of the courtroom.
I always like how in the courtroom scenes, sometimes they'll zoom in real close on each of the people who's a suspect.
Yeah.
Like, is it this woman? Is it this guy? They look pretty nervous.
They all look nervous. And she was nervous, and then she stood up. I don't care. He tried to leave me.
Those old TV shows really have something to say. I mean, like The Twilight Zone, there is some scary episodes
I was going to talk about
on
that, too, but I have something to say, too. Okay, and what I have to say...
This is scary, too.
It can be.
Is this our Halloween episode again?
It can be scary. What I want to talk about, though, is, as you know, on the blog segment, I talk about what happens in my office. And so many of my clients had come to me and owe taxes because they haven't... they're in business and they just haven't filed their tax returns, and we're going to talk about that in the Mr. Know-It-All segment too about this and what my advice is to people starting a business. But I'm going to talk today about people who are W-2 employees and don't file tax returns. Okay, because people say, "Well, why do I have to file? It's my money. I always get a refund. Why? What's the difference? Why do I? What does it matter to me whether I file tax returns or not? It's just a hassle. I got to pay someone and I got to do my tax returns, so I just won't do them. And actually, if I don't do my tax returns and I owe the IRS owes me, they don't really care that much because they want your money. Okay, and so they won't come after you. Although you have to realize that it is a crime not to file tax returns. Even if they owe you money, it's still a crime. Now they're not going to throw you in jail and say, "Hey, file your tax return so we can give you the money." They'll wait at least 3 years because you can only collect that refund that you're due for 3 years. So I've had people come to me who make a very good living, high six figures. Very high six figures, and they don't file their tax returns. And they figure, well, again, what I just said, they owe me money. What's the difference? I don't, I'm not going to file. I'm so busy at work, and that's how do you think I make this kind of money? Because I work my tail off, and I don't have time for this. Okay, so they just don't file. And then things happen. So in one case, and I'm going to tell you, I'm talking about $5,000-$10,000 in refunds that they have every year that they just forgo. Okay, and again, you can only go back 3 years to get them. So I've had people haven't filed since 2010 or before. But what happens is when an event happens that's unusual. So you sell a home, right? You're going to sell your home eventually, and you're going to move somewhere else. Well, that event is sent to the IRS that you sold your home, and they don't have a tax return to account for it. And so they just say, oh, you sold your home for $400,000. That's $400,000 in income. We're going to tax you on that income.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you get a bill from the IRS for $100,000 and some $1,000. And I've had that happen with a client. Recently, I had a client who had a event in her life. Her one of her children was getting married, and so she wanted to help fund the bill. So she sold some stock. Okay, so she had some stock as an investment, and she turned around and she sold the stock, and then used that money for her child's wedding. And but what happens is your broker has reported those sales to the IRS, and the IRS says, "Hey, wait a minute, these sales were not recorded on a tax return." So we'll do it for you. This is called an SFR, a substitute for return.
That sounds like the scariest word
and they believe
in the dictionary.
Actually, the IRS is the scariest word, but that's 3 words. Anyway, that's an Internal Revenue Service. But anyway, what happens is that then they say, well, here, you sold you had this income, and she got a bill for $60,000 to the IRS, and they said, by the way, not only do you owe us $60,000, but you better pay us by next week. Okay, and so she comes to me in a panic. What do? I got the IRS on me. I haven't filed in all these years. I am, and she's distraught, and she can't sleep at night, and she's really worried about it. Okay, so this is what I would tell people: even though you're a W-2 employee and you think that you don't have to file your tax return because it's a hassle, let me help you take the hassle out of it. If you're getting a refund and you're not getting it anyway, the best thing to do then is call me and get into our IRS protection plan. And the IRS protection plan is ongoing tax advice, but also will prepare your tax return at the end of every year.
Really?
So all you have to do is send us the information. And you don't really have to do anything else.
Is this?
And we'll do the tax return for you.
Do this?
I'm sure that there's CPAs and things that do this, but not law firms that are really looking out to protect you. Because this is what's going to happen, right? Because you're going to have these events happen in your life, and then the IRS is going to fall down on you like a ton of bricks. And you don't want that. You want to be protected from the IRS, and that's why we have the IRS protection plan to set it up. We will do your tax return every year. We will provide you with tax advice throughout the year. We will monitor the IRS letters to you. So if they're ever going to send you something, they have to send it to us because we'll have a power of attorney on file. And if they ever send you a notice, we'll get the notice too, and we will act on that notice. Because people tell me, and you know this if you have this IRS problem, when you get letters from the IRS, you don't want to open the mail.
No way.
Because you're afraid. And so you put it in a drawer, and you hope to open it next week.
What's
or
some
the
of your
week
best?
after that.
Some of the best advice you ever gave me was, Jim, make the call you don't want to make.
That's my eat the frog, right? Do things you don't want to do. Do that first. And that's my advice to people. And my advice to you is call Open Tax Resolution and the Law Office of Stephen Leahy. Sign up for our IRS protection plan. Even if you don't owe the IRS, let's make sure that you'll never have this IRS problem haunting you. Because if you're not filing your tax return, again, even if they're supposed to send you a refund, this problem is it's gonna come out of nowhere, and it's gonna shock you.
I think you said it perfectly, though. Make the call you don't want to make. Call Open Tax Resolution today. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we understand. And the 6 things that you can do to get out of IRS problem, well, one of them being not do anything at all, right?
One of the things you can do
is
do nothing.
Do nothing. But sit there and let it fester.
And they will knock on your door. And you'll be in trouble.
They will be there. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, remember, call Open Tax Resolution. Make that call today and fix your problem so you can start thinking about tomorrow today. I'll go into that in a second. Open Tax Resolution, 312-664-6649, or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to help fight the IRS. I'm Jim Leahy with That Properties. Let's start thinking about tomorrow today. That's my slogan, because it's 2019's coming up. It's not too early to start thinking. Now, listen to our sponsors and come right back here on AM 560.
The Answer.